ladies and gentlemen. In today's video, we're going to be fixing this Ariens riding lawnmower. Now, if you're thinking, hey, I don't have an Ariens riding lawnmower, this ain't going to work for me. Well, this 17.5 horsepower Briggs engine is very, very common. I just fixed a yard machine later today that had the same engine. Different type of air filter cover, but same exact engine. So, as a matter of fact, it uses the same exact carburetor. These are pretty much, if you have a single cylinder 17.5 horsepower engine, this video is going to be for you. So, a few things we got to do for this bad boy is, to be honest, when I look at the oil looks pretty good. It does need a cleaning, but I'm too busy to clean it, and the customer doesn't want to pay for it. So, normally, you can clean. I don't clean. But things need to be oiled. It needs a new ignition. Over here, this was the old ignition I took off just to make sure the pins matched up. And you can see it's really worn out. So I got a brand new one. And as always, links in the description. I'll put a brand new carburetor in here too for you guys. So we got a brand new ignition. Comes with 2 keys. This key will also work. No, maybe not. So brand new ignition. It's going to work fine. And we need to put a battery in there. We got a brand new battery right here. I believe that one is either from Walmart or O'Reilly's, one or the other. But the main issue here is this carburetor. And one of the bad things about this carburetor, we're going to get into it. First of all, I had to take just this cover off here because this air filter stripped out. I'll fix that. But it's just to get this carburetor off and cleaned, you need a variety of different tools. Instead of just your standard tool, you need a bunch. So right off the rip, you're going to need a 10 millimeter. And then you're going to need an 11 millimeter. And then after that, you're going to need an 8 millimeter. Not to mention pliers to get fuel clamps off and stuff. And you need a 13 millimeter wrench. Has to be a wrench, can't be a socket, because it goes down here on the fuel shutoff solenoid. And this one actually has a big gap, so I can use this super thick one. But I recommend buying a 13 millimeter cheap wrench somewhere, grinding this down real thin, because sometimes you can't get into there. I got the carburetor from the other lawnmower because I just replaced it for the other one. So I still have the core, and it's going to be it's a good carburetor. They just wanted a new one. So let me show you that real quick. In all reality, it's the same exact carburetor. Has the same layout, same choke, same throttle, same port for... This is the same carburetor, just on the same exact engine, but just it was kind of different. So different air filter cover. And look at this fuel shutoff solenoid. That is still a 13 millimeter, but as you noticed, I can't get that in there. So if you had one that you thin down, you can fit it into that thin gap there and take that off. Maybe I'll make a video just showing how to make a tool for that. So if you like that, hit that like button. Also, you should hit that subscribe button because I'm going to show how to clean that carb in a minute. And as you can see, this one has more of a bowl, where this one has 2 bolts on the bottom. To be honest, I could take this carburetor off, put this carburetor on, it'd be fine. But you could see they're 2 different styles, and I'll compare them once I get this one off. But it's relatively the same exact thing. So link in the description if you just want to buy a new carburetor. So let's get this carburetor off, shall we? First thing, I believe this thing has been sitting for years. And instead of replacing this carburetor, I'm just going to rebuild it because the customer needs it a little fast. And you can always tell the customer, hey man, I need to order parts. It ain't going to be fast as you think. Now with our pliers too, we can pull off this fuel shutoff solenoid, and depending on how bad it is, I might just bypass this fuel shutoff solenoid altogether, because to be honest, they're pointless. I do not ever, like most of the time you ever see me working on something, I cut that sumbitch off. But yeah, now we're pretty much done with getting the carburetor off, because now all we got to do is take 2 10 millimeter bolts here. Carburetor is going to fall a little bit. That's fine. We got one more little air line right here. And this is a gravity fed system, so there's no fuel pump. And now from here, we're going to pull out the choke, and the choke goes up and under on the first hole. So there's your choke system. And then to get the throttle off, we bend the carburetor this way, just pull it off. The spring's the hardest part. This has just a curve bend on it. So even with the spring, look at all that dust just raining off this thing. Okay, hang on, I need my little pliers. I believe this thing is savable, so there we go. Look at that. I like it. Let's take it off and get it on the bed. If you're wondering, well, we're going to use our other, because you're like, hey, Andrew, you said you need all these tools to take the carburetor off. Technically, you only need the 10 millimeter to take it off, but here's where everything else comes into play. So right off the rip, these two bolts here that hold the intake on, those are 11s. I gotta get it on there. Those are 11s. That takes the intake off. That ring looks good, so we'll leave it alone. Now, these are studs here that hold the outtake on, or the intake manifold part. Technically, it's still an intake, but those are 8s because they screw in to this part. So we'll put that aside, pull out the 2 studs. Now we have the carburetor off and ready to be fully disassembled and cleaned. We're going to put this bad boy into the ultrasonic cleaner. Let's go ahead and get this bowl off. Oh, I'm seeing... Oh yeah, no, this is the one I was talking about. We're going to actually need a Phillips for this one too. Oh look, you can see this nasty stuff coming out. Oh, look at that goop. Oh, I'll get you guys zoomed in here in a second. But that is all... I don't know what the heck that is. But yeah, let me go ahead and... Let me check this. Yeah, okay, I'm going to cut this off, so that's going bye-bye. That's not going to be used. And that's fine. It's not going to hurt nothing. But look at all that. It's like sawdust almost. Let's get you a close-up of what that is. Yeah, baby. There's probably still a lot in there, but we're going to take this whole thing apart. I just need a Phillips now. Okay, so I have both the carburetors now. As you see, they're relatively the exact same carburetor. As a matter of fact, they can be used vice versa. It does not matter. They will work. You can put this one on that right now. You can put that one on the one that this. Matter of fact, I think I replaced this one with a brand new one of these. So, yeah, that one just needs a different tool. So, 13 millimeter, obviously right here to remove the fuel shutoff solenoid, which I already did in the previous part. But I put it back together so I can give you a little comparison. And like I said, that's coming off. If you want to know how I break that off, I'll show you right now. Normally I have a better pair of pliers, but literally you just take a pair of pliers here and you're just going to break that off. There you go. It's bypassed now. And that's not going to hurt anything on it. We'll just get rid of that. And now we're going to take these 2 Phillips off, or JIS or J1S or whatever. Oh, that's going to strip. That's going to strip. Let me get a flathead. Super thick flathead. Yeah, because if that strips, I'm just going to buy a new carburetor. Got a little bit of PB Blaster here. Just not wanting to spray. There we go. Love that stuff. Okay, so I'm pushing downward pressure while I'm turning. And it's going to strip like a mofo. That's just great because I have to remove that to get to this carburetor. Let me get a hammer. So I decided I'm going to take a pair of vice grips and pinch the shit out of that and just twist it off. God, they make these things the weakest things ever. And I probably have 1 or 2 of these carburetors in stock. Well, not new, but if I had one new, I'd just put it on. And worst comes to worst, I'm not even going to use this one. I'll just clean the other one and put that one on. Yeah, because no matter what. Oh, I got it. Thank fucking Jesus. Forgive my language, guys. I am so sorry. I told myself I'd stop cussing in my videos, but sometimes it just comes out. Okay, so this thing's going to be completely rebuilt. So I have new gaskets for it. Now, a lot of people always ask, this little part, this little brass piece that really falls out, which way does it go? Well, I'm going to be honest with you. It always goes, if I get it in place, I'm going to show you. The flat, fat part right there That's going to go upwards like this. So it's going to go in like this. This has two gaskets here. This one, which is important, looks like a peepee, which we're going to peel off. This is going to go in the ultrasonic cleaner. And that's going to be replaced, so we're going to put a brand new one of those on. And this gasket, which is your carburetor's ever flooding, this is the issue right here. This O-ring right here. And the rebuild kits I have in the description come with a new O-ring for that. So once you get that off, this float, it's pretty nasty. I'm going to throw that in the cleaner too. I'm just inspecting it, making sure nothing else can come off. Now, I'm just going to throw this whole thing in the ultrasonic cleaner and then we'll come back. So take a look at it before. I know it's a little dark, but and then yeah, we'll get it in there. Okay, it's in the ultrasonic cleaner. I got it in there for 30 minutes at 130 degrees Fahrenheit. And it's just Dawn Blue dish soap. It is a little loud. I need to make one of those things Chris X Outdoors did, a soundproofer for the ultrasonic cleaner. That'd be a cool video to do too, making one myself. But hopefully it's not going to be too bad, and I can show you how I put this new ignition in real quick. And then we're going to put the new battery in and test the ignition, make sure it does work. So while that's cleaning, you know, we might as well get more things done at a time. And this thing is just plug and play. So literally we're just going to plug it in and push it in. We're done. That's it. That easy. Battery is going to be a little different. I don't even know what I did with the battery bolts to this thing when I took it off. If anything, I could find new bolts. So let's get this battery installed. And then we'll make sure the mower actually, you know, wants to... Okay, can't find the original bolts, but we're going to put new ones on anyways. Here's a little kit you get at the Harbor Freight for like 10 bucks. And it has a good one right here. Actually, I think the smaller one is probably better. Yeah, I'll probably use the smaller one. And I just need to find the nut that fits it. Now you can put locking washers on these or nylon washers, but most of the time you don't need to. It's always good to have extra bolts too. So there we go. So putting a battery in is pretty self-explanatory. Positive on the positive side, negative on the negative side. Now to be honest, a lot of people will say it matters what side you put on first. But I'm one of those people that says it doesn't matter what side you put on first. In either way, I know they say probably put the positive or the negative side on first so you don't accidentally arc them. But as Terrell always says, it's a lawnmower, not a rocket ship. So to be honest, you're not going to destroy it. I promise you. That's on there nice and tight. Now we'll do the negative side. And then we'll make sure this bad puppy is actually wanting to turn over. If not, we're going to have to figure out what to do from there. But we know that carburetor needs clean, and that's what's cleaning right now. I didn't even have to use the crescent wrench to tighten that one. Okay. Oh, that seat. Oh, it just turns. Now let's sit on this bad boy and see if she's actually wanting to turn over. Okay. I also noticed that this thing needs a little bit of oil in it. It is a little rough to push to lower and raise the deck. I'm just going to fill it with some PB Blaster. And I'm going to oil it down here. And I'm pretty much going to oil this whole thing up as I go. It just hasn't ran in such a long time. But now let's see. We just want to hear it spin. We don't need it to start, obviously. We don't have a carburetor on it or no fuel. Okay, I'm going to put some PB Blaster inside the spark plug hole, just because that sounded a little dry in there. Oh, and this spark plug needs to be changed. And I don't even think I have a nice fancy NGK on me. So, with this kit I bought, it did come with a fuel filter and a spark plug. I'm going to turn off the ultrasonic cleaner while I'm over here grabbing my spark plug socket. But to be honest, I'm just going to put a generic spark plug on it. And I don't think, you know, everyone says that the cheap ones are bad, but a spark plug sometimes is just a spark plug. So we will replace it with the one that came in the generic kit. I got the wrong spark plug size. I'll be right back. Pretty sure the new one is the bigger size, but yeah, I digress. Yeah, this spark plug is rusted. So is the muffler. This thing could really use a good deep cleaning. But like I said, I'm just going to spray some PB Blaster inside of the piston head. This is the original Briggs & Stratton spark plug. You just see how badly rusted that is, how black that is. So yeah, let's we're gonna toss that. But like I said, this stuff is really good penetrating lube. I got the straw as deep as I can go, and I'm just gonna fill it up. That means when I do start it, it's gonna smoke a little bit. But for now, we'll let that just soak in there. And now we're gonna finish cleaning the carburetor, and then we'll put it back together. But for now, we have a new battery, we have a new ignition, we're going to have a new spark plug, and like I said, this brand new carburetor, not only does it come with the carburetor, a spark plug, fuel line, a fuel shutoff, which these never have. I'm going to probably put one on. Fuel filter. So for like, I think it's $30, you get everything. Plus it comes with extra bits and bobs and a new one of these. So even with one carburetor, you get two of these technically, because there's one in the carburetor at the moment. My little O-rings in here as well. I don't need none of the rest of the stuff, but these will be crucial in the rebuild of this one. So for the price that I paid for another customer's carburetor, I get extra stuff to rebuild and fix this customer's carburetor. And I still have the core, which is over there now. So yeah, let me get this carburetor finished in the ultrasonic, and we'll be right back to it. Okay, we're on the final stretch. If you guys made it this far, I greatly appreciate you. So again, the little part's going to go up and into that. Now we're going to put that upside down over there, or we're going to put it right here. Now we can put this little gasket on here. Now in my last video, I put it on the carburetor itself, but everybody's like, you got to put it on the float part first. So I'm like, whatever. I think it's a pain in the ass to put it on the float part first. But I guess it pinches into all the grooves and everything, so we'll just put it on here first. Okay, now we put this little gasket on this part. And now from here, we want to make sure that we line this up right. And that's wrong. It's going to go like that. That is beautiful. And we're going to screw it back together. Put on this fuel shutoff solenoid. And my phone is blowing up. That was my wife calling. Pure. The only thing is, though, is we are not going to... It's like it doesn't matter. I just need to make something that screws in there. You want to make sure that I get this one all the way tight. That one. Now from here, we'll put on this part first. It's going to go like that. There's no gasket in there. Where's our gasket? The new kit you buy will have a new gasket in it. This is the old gasket. We're just going to use it because I have a feeling this thing's going to run it pretty good. Now that this carburetor is all nice and clean. Now this one's a little different. This one looks like they were screwed in rather than having set screws in there. These ones look like they just screw right into the plastic. Almost like they want you to replace that afterwards. Now we put the top intake one on. The only thing that really matters are those two red O-rings, the one on this one and this one. If those come off, you gotta buy a rebuild kit. Otherwise it's gonna run like poo-poo. But everything looks pretty good. We're done with the 13, the 11, and the 8. Now all we need is the 10, and let's put this back together and give this thing a test fire. I got gas in there, I got the spark plug in there. Everything should be good to go, so let's do it. So let me show you how to put the choke back in. Like I said, it's going to go on this first hole underways like this, and then it's going to slide up in there. There's a little hole down here, but before we do that, we're going to put on our throttle just like that. Same thing with our spring. which the springs are always like the worst part to put back on. Some people are gurus with them. They can probably do it instantly. I always have problems with them. They never want to go in for me. Oh, come on. The spring is what's going to hold me back. And like I said, I put a fuel filter on and a fuel shutoff, and I just put fresh gas in this. And the gas is pouring out. Nothing is clogged. Oh, if I could grab this. Here, let me get this spring on. Beautiful. Now, the choke goes up in this little hole here. You'll see it when you're down here. We put this tube on here for the breather. This tube for the back breather. Grab our 2 tins. And now we can put on our intake manifold. I always plug this back in. It doesn't matter if you disconnected your fuel shutoff solenoid. We're going to turn it on and make sure we are not flooding, which I don't think we should be. So far, so good. I will mount this back up when I'm all said and done. But until then, I think we're going to give this thing a run and see if she starts. Like I said, it might smoke a bit. Here we go, baby. Choke it up. I'm nervous. This sounds so horrible. And it could just be this thing rattling. Okay, hang on. I'm going to mount that back up and then we'll run. Try this again, shall we? It's running beautifully. I don't like the fact that it's spitting oil everywhere. And I'm just making sure. That's motor oil down there. Is this thing leaking oil now? I don't know. Let me double check. The level is exactly the same. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this thing sit overnight after we ran it. Make sure there's no leaks in the morning. Start it up one more time and then finish this. Beautiful. It is now the next day. Everything is still in there. Gas, no flooding. I left the gas on. Oil still in there. Everything's sat. Let's see if she runs, shall we? Choke it up. Go. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you guys like and subscribe and all the other fun stuff, and yeah, catch you in the next